Hello, and welcome back to the Wild Manifestations podcast. If you don't already know me, I'm your host. I'm Heather Ione. I am a spiritual life coach and manifestation mentor, as I call it, from St. Petersburg, Florida. And in this podcast, I talk all about, manifestation and the law of attraction. I talk about different universal laws. I talk about overcoming limiting beliefs. I talk about raising your vibration through lifestyle and wellness practices, doing self discovery work to get in touch with your highest self. I created this podcast because I wanted to give you all of these tools, all of these insights that you need to become a deliberate creator of your life. And you might not know this, but I also am a doTERRA wellness advocate. I don't mention that on this podcast a lot, but I also sell doTERRA essential oils. And what I do is I actually work with people on a regular basis to help them improve their health and their physical body and their mental well being, their emotional well being, and all of that stuff through essential oils. So people come to me and, they pop into my DMs, they set up essential oil consultations and stuff, and I work with them for a period of time. And they ask me questions like, how do I become more focused? How do I get rid of headaches and migraines? What can I use for this digestive problem that I'm having? And I just work with them over a period of time to help them figure out what different products and what different supplements can help them in a holistic way for those who are interested in holistic healing and making essential oils a part of their lifestyle and really improving their lifestyle through using different products and supplements that are healthy for them instead of just reaching for those drugstore options that are available. And I wanted to create this podcast for a really long time because I know that most of my audience is brand new to essential oils. Most of the people who follow me, they are familiar with essential oils, but they don't really know what they are. They don't really know how to use them. They don't really understand how it can improve their health. They have no idea that there are tons and tons of different essential oil options to help them with different health ailments that they're having. So I wanted to create this podcast as an introduction to essential oils. And this podcast is set up interview style with a good friend of mine, Jennifer Gilman. She's actually the person who really introduced me to essential oils and changed my life with essential oils. I'm not kidding you. So before this podcast was even really a podcast, back when it was just an idea in my head and I didn't even have a name for it, I sat down with Jennifer and I was like, will you be on my podcast? Can I interview you on my podcast? I didn't even have a podcast yet, but I knew I was going to have to interview her. So Jennifer is a doTERRA, a diamond doTERRA wellness advocate. She is a master herbalist and a certified aromatherapist. And I have not met anyone as passionate as she is about holistic health and about helping people with their health through using these essential oils and herbs and supplements. And at this point, she's been working with doTERRA, selling doTERRA for 6 years, and she has worked with hundreds, I mean, honestly, thousands of people at this point to improve their health through using these oils. And she's so incredible at what she does. And I met her more than a year ago because we were both students at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And she reached out to me on Facebook one day and was like, hey, Heather, I'm having a really hard time keeping up with all the homework, all these lectures and stuff. And I'm just wondering if you want to meet up for coffee and become accountability buddies and do health histories and stuff together. So I was like, sure, let's do that. And we started meeting up. And because we were always meeting for coffee and naturally talking about health, because we were studying at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, becoming certified coaches, we would naturally talk about health. And I would tell her about these different health ailments and different concerns I was having. And I was having major health issues I felt like they were major, that I was going to different doctors for a year and a half, and none of them were able to help me. So I was just opening up to her about everything that I was dealing with. And she just started offering me these different essential oil options and roller bottles and ways that I can use them and diffuse them and recipes I can make and supplements that I can use to help me heal my body. And I'm going to be honest, at first, when we first met each other, I did not realize that Jennifer was this successful at what she does. I did not realize she was this knowledgeable. I did not realize that essential oils could help you. I really didn't. So, back when I first met her, I started buying oils through her because I really just wanted to support my friend's small business. And I just wanted to kind of make her day and be like, yeah, sure, I'll buy an oil from you. Like, I really just did it to make her happy. I just didn't think oils would work. I don't know. And all of a sudden, like 8 months went by and she completely changed my life with essential oils and it worked. And I could not freaking believe it. I really could not believe all of the change that I saw in my body through working with her and through using those essential oils. It was freaking mind blowing. So now, since then, I've also become a doTERRA wellness advocate so that I can work with people in the same way that Jen worked with me and help them through these different health issues that they're having. And together figure out, like, okay, what oil is going to be the oil that helps you with this? What recipe can we use? What little routine can we create for you to help you in a holistic way so that you don't have to reach for these man made options at the drugstore and stuff like that? So now I'm doing the same work that Jennifer is doing, but I wanted to bring her on this podcast because she's so knowledgeable. And every single time I sit with Jennifer, I always learn something every single time. So I knew that she was just such an incredible person to have on this podcast. So in this podcast, we're going to talk all about essential oils. We're going to talk about what essential oils are, how do you use them, how do you know if you're using a good quality essential oil. We're going to talk about why doTERRA is the best and the safest essential oil that you can possibly use, because I also learned, fun fact, that 95-96% of the essential oils on the market are completely synthetic. So she's going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about different health concerns and little things that might pop up throughout the day that you can use essential oils for. How to save money on essential oils, how to become a doTERRA wholesale customer, what that means, how to save money with those oils by being a wholesale customer, what the difference is between a wholesale customer and a wellness advocate. A wellness advocate is what me and Jen are. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff to really open you up to the world of essential oils. So I hope that you like this podcast episode. And I just want to say that the links to every single thing that we talk about in this podcast episode are going to be in the show notes. So any resource that we mention, any book we mention, any oil that we mention is going to be super easy for you to find in the show notes. And a lot of the links are set up like shopping cart links. So if at any point you're like, ooh, I really want to buy frankincense, I really want to buy peppermint or lemon or lavender, you can immediately just hit that link and it will take you to the shopping cart. Or you can also find the kits and stuff to them. You can find links to become a doTERRA wholesale customer. You can browse the site through my.doterra.com/Heather Ione. You can see all of that stuff down there. And if you want to really work with me on a regular basis to help you heal your body with these essential oils and learn about, what products can help you naturally in dealing with whatever health concerns or ailments you want to address, you can also set up an oil consultation with me. They're completely free, and there's a link to it. It's a Calendly link in the show notes as well. So I believe that's everything, but let's get into this podcast episode today because it is so magical. I'm so excited to share this with you, and please reach out to me if you have any questions in the future. Anyways, let's get into this episode. Welcome, Jen, to the Wild Manifestations podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
It's so good to be here. I love it. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, you're welcome. I haven't thought of other interviews and stuff that I want to do yet, but I knew as soon as I was going to have this podcast interview, as soon as I was going to have this podcast, I was going to have you on to interview you because you know so much about essential oils and you've really taught me everything that I know now about essential oils. You're so knowledgeable about it, and I've never seen someone as passionate as working with the oils as you are. So I am so happy that you're here right now.
Oh, thank you. I just love, part of my passion is watching people go through their journey. And it's been just such a pleasure seeing you really find how these oils work for you. And that aha moment, like, oh my God, the power of these. So
yes, exactly.
That's what fuels me.
I know. I'm so happy that you got me to that moment because I did not have that feeling before with essential oils. So I knew that you were just the perfect person to have for this interview. But before we get started, this podcast is all about manifestation and universal laws and becoming a deliberate creator of your own life and overcoming different limiting beliefs and all this kind of stuff. So the main theme of the podcast is really these different tools and insights that people can use to become that deliberate creator of your life. So before we get into all that, I wanted to ask you, what is the wildest thing that you have ever manifested?
My current husband. Because boy, did I have a lot of not so good ones, right? And not that they're all husbands. So I've been married before, but I count in there all the boyfriends I had, and I kept attracting all these really not good people. I'm sure you guys can all relate. And finally, I just went to work on what do I want to attract? And I wrote it down. I had a list, you guys. And I really focused on I am no longer going down the old path. I am bringing in someone new that serves me well. And crazy. That's exactly what happened. My current husband, my husband now is just, he fits all those things on my list. And guess what?
What?
He did a list too. We didn't realize that until a few months after dating. He did a list too because he had the same thing. So it's not just us women, but he was tired of attracting the same type of woman. So he made this list. We both read the list to each other.
Right.
And we're just it's pretty cool.
So you both had descriptions of the other person. Yeah. Wow. That's so crazy.
Behaviors, how they looked, how they treated people. I mean, you name it was on there. It was multiple pages for both of us.
Wow.
And it was pretty powerful.
Did you save it?
I did.
Yeah. That would be so cool to look back on.
I'll have to ask him when I get back home.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I've actually heard that story quite a few times from people too. You're not the only person who has scripted their, future husband or anything like that. So it's a really powerful tool. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. But sometimes you need help, and really just getting help from you and just some tools, that can help you really manifest that. That was key for me as I really sought out some help and having the right tools to be able to be confident to even do that list. That was part of it too.
Because I think a lot of people, they believe in the law of attraction, but they're like, well, what do I do? How do I use it? How do I draw in that person? It can be kind of overwhelming.
And you probably find some people, they don't feel they deserve it. So that was my case. I was like, well, what do I deserve? So I had to work at a deeper level first.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So now shifting gears into essential oils, the reason why we're here today. So first I wanted to ask you, I've never met anyone who is this passionate about holistic health and wellness that didn't have a story. So I feel like you must have your own wellness story or essential oil journey that got you here today. Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. And you're right, everyone in holistic, they tried other things, and usually holistic is often the last resort for some people, or they maybe saw family members go through, the modern medicine and decided they never want to do that. So usually one of those paths. And for me, I was that sick kid growing up. I was the kid that always had the sore throats and getting the flu and all of this stuff. And doctors, you know what they do. They just put you on this antibiotic after
Right.
antibiotic after antibiotic, and not really any explanations, never once conversations about how I could take care of myself. Never. It was just writing out another script. Oh, now she needs her tonsils out. Take them out, you know. So many of you listening might have a similar story, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. So finally, in my mid 20s, I decided that's it. I'm going to start learning. And I started working on me. And for years, I worked on me. And I started getting some really good wins of figuring things out and actually learning about gut health, you know, probiotics, how important that was, how important water, getting a good night's sleep, all those kind of things that nobody told me about. That's crazy,
Yeah,
you know, but that's
sense.
what led me on this path. And I had a great career in doing something else. But one day I just thought, you know, I don't want to continue doing this. I wonder what the next chapter of my life is about. And I started exploring options, and I decided to become an herbalist and went full force into plant medicine.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, I love that story. Yeah, I feel like every single person has a story like that. But another thing I wanted to ask you is I've been to a lot of your, essential oil parties and education and stuff like that at your house. And what I've noticed from conversations with other doTERRA wellness advocates and, just wholesale customers is that every single person seems to have a magic oil that like all of a sudden the light bulb went off and they found this, soulmate of an oil that fixed a symptom that they've had for years and years and years. For me, it was actually deep blue because I had so much tension and knots and pain in my back, and I would get massages all the time. I would lay on a hot pack for 45 minutes every single day, and I had dozens of different pain relief creams. I was using every single topical pain relief cream I could, and nothing was working. And then I found Deep Blue, and that all went away. And I no longer have to buy those creams, and I'm not laying on a hot pack every single day. And so Deep Blue was my magic, light bulb oil for me. Did you have an essential oil like that really changed your mind too?
Absolutely. And I'm curious, do you love the scent, the aroma of Deep Blue?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. What does it mean to you when you smell it?
I don't even know how to describe it. It's like cooling and comforting and refreshing to me. And when I don't know why I get this feeling, but when I smell Deep Blue, I'm just like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Because it's taken away the pain. So this is it's a perfect example of realizing first you get the benefits physically, and then your mind and your brain remembers that this brings relief.
Oh, wow.
So it's totally emotionally connected. So now this is a positive trigger for you.
Yeah.
When you smell that aroma, immediately your body is saying, it's all okay. You're going to be fine. Before you even apply it. The mind is so powerful. So that's what happened to me with On Guard. Okay. Now, my path was a little different because I started as an herbalist. I had my business going, and I'm still working on my health, you guys. You know, I had some wins, but nothing was locked in. I was still on a journey. So I started bringing the essential oils into my business, and I'm helping all these other people, and I'm using the products. And all of a sudden I notice I'm not getting sick anymore. And boy, do I really like diffusing that On Guard for some reason. And then I look back, it's so funny when you're helping other people, you finally realize what happened to you.
Right.
You realize, oh, wow, I haven't had a sore throat in forever. I'm getting on planes and I'm not getting sick. I'm getting to the other end and I don't have to patch myself up again. I was using the heck out of the On Guard topically, aromatically. And when I diffuse it, it was like, I call it Christmas in a bottle, but it was bringing me joy and happiness. And I'm sure it's because I'm well. Yeah. And that forever changed my immune system. So that was my oil. And it's a total connection of like just mind, body, spirit, everything. Yeah. So when I smell that now, I think of wellness, vitality, because that's what happened to me.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. I use On Guard to clean my bathrooms. I no longer use like the typical bathroom cleaner
So
that I
good.
used to always buy. Now I make my own and I always use On Guard for it. And I love On Guard too because it does smell a little bit Christmassy and like spicy. It
Yeah.
reminds me of my chai lattes.
Oh, nice.
Because I love
That's
chai
funny.
so much. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I definitely love On Guard.
Love that.
So we have a ton of essential oil between us right
Ooh,
now,
I
as
love it.
always.
Let's play.
Yeah, so whenever we're around each other. Okay, so right now I'm holding up a bottle of peppermint, right? And I'm looking at this bottle and there's this liquid inside of it. Now, what exactly am I looking at when I'm looking at what is in this bottle? Is it just, they crush some leaves and mix it with water? Because I know I did not understand what was in an essential oil when I first was introduced to them.
Yeah, I love that you asked this question, because people often skip right to how do I use it, and instead really understanding what the heck is that in the bottle.
Right.
I know what a plant looks like. You can't tell me it's a liquid now.
Right.
So I really appreciate that you asked, how does that plant become a liquid in these little tiny bottles, right? This is the aromatic compound in the plant. So the best thing I can share with you is to envision a peppermint plant. And if you're not familiar with a peppermint plant, think of just like a small shrub growing in the ground, and it's got green leaves to it. And if you were to pick just one of the leaves, one of the peppermint leaves, and you actually ripped it open, and now you take those two pieces and you hold it up to your nose, what are you going to smell?
You smell that peppermint.
Yeah. You smell the peppermint because you just released the aromatic compounds. You can't see them, but you can smell them. And it's like the lifeblood of the plant. It's the essence of the plant. So you can smell them, but you can't see it. And that's what's hard for us to understand, because we like to see things,
Right, yeah.
Well, the way to get those aromatic compounds off the plant is through steam distillation. So you gather up lots of peppermint plants and you put it all in this stainless steel vat, and you do a steam distillation process, which it is a process, and you can look up different videos to learn if you're really interested in that. But when you steam distill it, it separates the essential oil, the aromatic compounds, from the plant. And it's amazing. And then it ends up in this little, bottle it in these little bottles. So it's pretty remarkable you're able to actually extract that.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that makes sense, because I feel like a lot of people, they just look at this and they think it's just water in a way. They don't realize. Well, that brings me to my next question that I was going to ask you. So what is the difference between all these different oils? Because there's a ton of oils that are available now. And I mean, I see them at the grocery store. I see them at drugstores.
Did you see them in the gas stations?
They are at gas stations.
It's crazy.
They are on Amazon for $2.
Yeah.
So, like, what is the difference here? I feel like people don't know. They think they're all the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. The first thing I would really encourage people is, if you have ever taken medications, whether it's over the counter or prescription, do you buy those from Amazon? Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please don't do that, because there's all sorts of sellers on Amazon, and anyone can buy those resaleable tops to an essential oil and take half of it out, throw some coconut oil in there, rebottle it, and now they're getting twice as much for it, or whatever it is, and now it's adulterated. So it's easy to adulterate an oil, not just on Amazon, but in other ways. So there's a lot of garbage out there, so really you've got to be careful. The FDA allows somebody to put pure essential oil in the bottle if there's only 5% essential oil in the bottle.
Wow.
That's 5, single digit. So what is the other 95%?
Oh my gosh.
So it used to be like 80% of the oils in the world were adulterated. Now they're estimating upwards of a little more than 95% of oils are adulterated.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a figure as of just last year. So it's getting worse. It's really getting worse. So you've got to really do your homework and make sure you're buying from a reputable company that has passed all the tests, that has full disclosure. They're willing to share everything with you.
Yeah.
And so that's why I love doTERRA, because you can go to a website, it's called source2u.com. So source2u.com. And you can just plug in the number on the bottle of any doTERRA bottle, and it's going to give you reports, descriptions, everything. And that's why medical professionals love doTERRA, because everything is full disclosure. Not only is it the most trusted and most tested brand, but everyone can see that.
Mm.
And
Wow.
that's huge.
Right.
There's no other company doing that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And another thing too with the essential oils is that I'm noticing some of them, I've heard this from people who've reached out to me for consultations. They've bought oils in the past that had warning labels like, do not put this on your skin, do not ingest this,
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's because it's not real essential oil. If it was, you would be able to ingest peppermint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize when they're buying a quote essential oil, they could just be buying lavender perfume in a bottle with a tiny percent of lavender essential oil, and the rest is God knows what. A random carrier oil. There's could be water in there. I know I used to, before I was familiar with this, I thought all essential oils were the same, and I started getting curious about them. So I was buying them for $2 on Amazon. And I mean, I hate to say this now, but I would put them on my body and I would take them internally and all of the things I was not aware. And I noticed when I started using doTERRA, I went from $2 Amazon bottles to doTERRA, and there was such a huge difference. I didn't realize like the lemon that I would get from Amazon, it was literal water in the bottle.
Crazy.
Or some of them would be like greasy, and like slimy, and a real essential oil is not supposed to be like that.
That's right. Can I tell you a quick story about my tea tree?
Yes, you can.
So when I first, my very, very, very first essential oil was tea tree. And I mean, this has to be going at least 20 years ago, okay? So I bought this oil. I don't even remember why I bought it, because nobody came home from the store to tell me what to do with it, right? So I appreciate it, like all the education that we give people, because people are not for want. They don't have to wonder, how am I going to use this? We take care of them. So, but my tea tree, so I used it apparently. Years later, it ends up, going further and further in the back of my cabinet. And years later, I find it and I open it up and it's all rancid. It's disgusting. Well, the only thing that goes rancid is nut oils. And nut oils, usually after 2 to 3 years, go rancid. It has that really nasty smell to it. So I know now that that oil was adulterated. It was watered down, so to speak, not with water, but with a carrier oil, most likely like an almond oil maybe, or something like that.
Right.
And I could smell it. It was bad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so gross.
So I just threw it away, but it just proved to me, I'm like, oh, there's so many different flavors out there.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So many kinds of oils. And if you want a real medicinal grade that doctors and specialists trust in, it's doTERRA.
Right, yeah. So I was also going to ask you next, like you've told me in the past that different clients and customers of yours would come to you and say, Jen, we want to buy essential oils from you. You should be selling essential oils. And so that really led you on this path of doing a ton of different research on the oils, right? And then you said that you ended up going with doTERRA because you felt like that was the best of the best. So why doTERRA? What was it that they were telling you, or what answers were you hearing that you just knew doTERRA stood out among the others?
Such a good question. And I really, when my customers as an herbalist were telling me they wanted to buy the oils from me, I was hesitant, to be honest with you, because I knew the industry was so adulterated. I just didn't know if I had the energy, frankly, the energy to actually research all this to find the good company. But I didn't want to align myself with anything but the best. I knew that. That was my goal. So I took about 6 months because I wanted to take time to call companies, to look up on the website, ask them questions about what are their analytical testing methods for testing these oils. Some of the answers were things like, oh, we don't share that. We don't share that information.
Oh, wow.
Well, click, I'm hanging up on them, because that's not good enough for me.
Right.
To me, that it means they're hiding something that they don't want me to know. or they just have no idea, because a lot of the oils out there are bought from middlemen and they have no clue where it's coming from. They're just bottling it.
Oh, wow.
They're being sold by the barrel from the middleman. And that makes me more mad now that I know what I know, because the farmers and the people who are working their tail off to make sure that they grow it correctly, they harvest it correctly, and get it to the distillation facility correctly, they're losing out because the middlemen are getting rich,
Right.
So this was a bigger story, is what I realized, as I really delved in, and I just contacted one company after the next. doTERRA answered everything, provided reports. I was able to find most of it online, to be honest. It was just out there open. And then I started talking to people who use doTERRA. So they were the clear winner for me. And then I began. And the first 18 months, I introduced it to people still a little leery, right? Because you start something, you're like, all right, I did my homework. I think this is right. But you don't know until you get the feedback. About 18 months later, at this point, I had worked with about 100 people. Clear winner. This was remarkable. And not only were people having great results, they were loving it, meaning this was now a hobby. They liked working on their health. They liked loading up the diffuser every morning. They enjoyed, making maybe a roller bottle here and there, or making their own cleaning products. And that was a change for me. I realized now I can actually empower people. I can empower them with their health.
Yeah, that happened to me too. I used to hear, people would say like, oh, make a roller bottle or just make your own cleaner. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am not going to do that. I was like, no way am I going to make my own bathroom cleaner. I'm not a hippie. I'm not someone who's going to do that, But I've worked with the oils now so much, and I saw how much that they changed my life and my body and made me feel so much better. And then I started to become that hobbyist, and now I have it in the diffuser all the time, and I'm making my own cleaners, which I cannot believe. I will never use another store-bought cleaner again. Yeah. And I remember I told you, I was like, I don't like roller bottles, and now I'm making roller bottles.
It's funny how that when the value goes up in your life and you see results, it's a game changer in your health, and then you enjoy different things. But don't worry, for those listening, if you're like, nope, still not going to ever convince me to make my own stuff, there are pre-made things. That's what I love about doTERRA, is they've come a long way. In the beginning, it was truly just the oils. And now, because of the demand, I mean, you got to figure this is the largest essential oil company in the world. You don't get there just because. But now they have met the demand of people who do not like to make things. So there's some pre-made rollers, there's cleaner concentrates and things like that to make your life easier. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So another thing I'm wondering about is, we've talked about why doTERRA at this point and the difference between the oils, but let's say like there's someone out there and they just have random essential oils at home, right? They've bought them at the grocery store, they've got one at a gas station, maybe their family gave them random roller bottles or something in a stocking at Christmas. So if they do have these sort of random bottles sitting at home right now, how can they tell if one of them is quality? Is there a way that you can tell?
Yes. But I would encourage you to reach out. They can reach out to you and say, I want to smell a doTERRA oil versus this. So that's a really good. And just to ask you, just say, listen, Heather, I would really like to smell one of your doTERRA oils because I want to compare it with what I have, or I want to pour a drop in my hand.
Yes.
So that's a clear telltale sign to be able to have an experience from you. And so that's one way. But they can easily just put it in their hands and rub their hands together. If it is greasy and it's not absorbing, like there's still a film of grease, there's something else in there. Because essential oils are not greasy like that. It's not like pouring coconut oil in your hand, or pouring a lotion in your hand, or pouring olive oil in your hand. It's not like that at all. It will absorb directly in and leave nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a really good way for just everybody and anybody to be able to look and not have to know how to read reports and all that other kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And I actually got my mother-in-law that way into getting interested in doTERRA.
Yeah.
She actually just texted Matt last night. She's like, can you have Heather text me? I need more oils.
Yep.
But she came over once and she's like, I'm really curious about these oils. And she's like, what, can I use a lavender? Can I use this? And I like put some on her hands and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, wow. She was so surprised by how it felt. And then she went home and she's like, my lavender does not smell like the lavender you gave me. And I think that that's like another huge telltale sign is when you use a bottle of like doTERRA peppermint. Oh, wow. It is potent.
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
it is powerful. You know that that is peppermint. You can smell it from the other room,
Yeah.
and the oils that I used to use were not like that, because they were so diluted with whatever randomness they were putting in the bottle.
Yeah. I love that I love when people have already used some oils, because then it's very clear.
Yeah.
Once
absolutely.
they start, using some of the doTERRA, there is no question. They're like, this is absolutely
right. Yeah.
Superior product.
Right. They don't even need to read a report. You can just tell immediately from feeling it.
Yeah. It is the purest, absolute purest brand out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So another question that I have for you is, a lot of people have used essential oils before, random ones maybe, but they're used to just using them for the smell, right? Because I used to only use essential oils because I like the smell of them. I was like, oh, this is nice, But how can they actually improve your life? Why is it that we are so passionate about these oils?
That is a really good question. And I have to say, it will vary for everyone because we're all so different. We're all uniquely different. But I'll give you a couple of examples, really. Some people come to me and it's all, they want to work emotionally, and they tell me things, and share because they just want help and support emotionally. And it's amazing. They'll start using these oils and I see a different person the next time I see them.
Wow.
Or I even hear it on the phone. I can hear that they are so much more joy there, that they're beginning to have hope and purpose. And as they keep working with these oils, all of a sudden they're starting to come up with ideas about their life and what they want to do. That just doesn't happen because I know it's the power of the oils. So emotionally is huge. And the way that works, it goes into the nose, the olfactory bulb there, and it affects your limbic system. And that's how that science-wise works. And there's something called the amygdala there. That's the center of emotions and feelings. The only way to get to it is through aroma.
Oh, wow.
That's the only way to get to that part. Now, if you look at the flip side, drugs, medications, pharmaceuticals, you can take those and you can affect change in your amygdala, center of emotions and feelings. But you have to decide which path you want to go, and I'm not going to put down, I never put down modern medicine because there's absolutely a time and place for it. Absolutely. Especially if something is really hard, it's a way to get through something. But then most people then decide, I want to go natural. I want to move towards that natural route. So that's one huge way. And it's not to underestimate that, because emotional then often leads to physical, not the other way around, really. Although people come to me and say, I want to work on this, I need less pain, I need less migraines, I need less allergies, I want a better night's sleep, things like that. And the oils absolutely help with those areas. Remarkable stories with that. But then they start to realize there was an emotional aspect to it always.
Oh, okay.
When they start to realize, oh, I'm feeling happier. I'm feeling more hope, more purpose. These things end up coming out. And it's because the oils are helping you get well, of being more clarity about what you want to do in your life.
Right. Yeah. And I think we forget how closely linked our physical body and our emotional body is. Modern medicine makes it seem like those two things are entirely different. They do not exist together, but really they are so connected. So that's what I like about using the oils, is that I feel that emotional benefit. I feel better when I use them, and then my body feels better. And those two things just kind of feed into each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last part I will tell you physically, because sometimes you're like, well, I still don't understand physically how they work. They work actually at a cellular level. So if you think of we're made up of trillions of cells, um, everything, if there's a dis-ease within the body, it could possibly be inside the cells, right? Maybe it's outside the cells. Well, plant medicine, the essential oils can actually penetrate the cell membrane and go in and be like garbage collectors and clean up anything bad in there. And then they can go back in and repair the cells. So the good news now is there's a lot of literature now finally on this. The last 20 years has just been ginormous of where you can find data
Mm-hmm.
and the science on how that actually works based on various oils. So truly physically the evidence is there. The
Right.
evidence is absolutely there.
Absolutely. So let's say there's someone listening right now and they're like, okay, I get it. I am interested in doTERRA and all this kind of stuff. I want to get my hands on some of these oils. Where do they start? Where do you typically recommend people go when they're interested in experimenting with doTERRA and learning more about the oils and, implementing them in their lives, seeing how it might make them feel better? Where do you initially recommend that they start?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I get that a lot because they're like, all right, I don't even know where to start. That's often the question.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so doTERRA has a wonderful kit that answers that question. It's called the Healthy Start Kit. So Healthy Start Kit was designed with you in mind, you, that person that's like, I want to get started, but I don't know where. It gives you 10 oils, so a nice amount to really get some great benefits. Because I will tell you, by choosing to start with only one or two, you are really limiting your success. You are
Right.
really limiting your success drastically. So I like that they put this kit together, and because there's so much you can do with it, and then really making sure you purchase from somebody who's going to help you. So having that guide who really cares for you. And I know that both of us do that,
Yes.
really helping people, because if you're just going to buy something and not have a guide to help you and show you the best resources for you of what you want to accomplish, and that's not good. That's back to like my tea tree oil. Nobody came home from the store with me to tell me what to do with it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's important to have that.
Right, I agree. And that's actually the kit that I started out with when I first enrolled in doTERRA, because I was so interested in these oils and I was actually searching for them for a long time, but I didn't know how to get a quality oil. And then randomly, I ended up getting invited to this party, an essential oil party at somebody's house. And I went home with the Healthy Start Kit.
Yep.
So I got to use all the oils. And oh my gosh, I had so much fun just getting to play with them and use all the different oils and use Deep Blue. And I remember like I would put it on and like the kinks in my neck would go away. And I would put like peppermint on if I had cramps and stuff like that. And it was so much fun to start to learn about them myself. But
didn't you feel empowered?
Yeah, I did.
Like, I could do this.
Yeah. And the other thing that you were saying is, a guide is so important, because so many people, they buy oils and then they're like, okay, like I'm just on my own with this, and they sort of lose interest because they're not getting that help. They're not seeing how this could actually impact their body. And when I was initially working with someone from doTERRA, she was not really interested in like helping me in that way. So I grabbed the oils, I went home, and then, eventually it kind of fizzled out. And you were the person who brought my interest back into the oils, because you made me realize how these oils can help and improve your physical health and your emotional health and all that stuff. I remember sitting down with you and you were like, all right, let's put together a little routine, and you helped me come up with that stuff. So I'm so thankful that I met you, because you're always pointing me to different books and resources, and I can text you at any point and be like, what do I do for this? So I'm really excited to do that for other people too. And I'm really excited to help those people that are, especially interested in sticking with it. They don't just want to like smell them once in a while and then that's that. So,
and that's what I love about you, Heather, is that you are such a good guide, because there are some people out there that they want to be the hero of everyone's story. Okay?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And that is not the way to take this on.
No.
You want to be a guide, because the person doing the work, the person using their oils for their own health, you're the hero of your story.
Mm-hmm.
You are the hero of your health story, or whatever you set yourself out to do. But we all need a guide.
Yes.
You know, when I need help with something, I find a guide.
Right.
You know, whether it's from my business, my health, or whatever, I know I need somebody to help me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do things on my own. I need a person to help me. Where can I find this resource or that? So,
right, yeah.
So you are so good at that, because you play that role so well for others.
Thank you. That's how I feel about coaching too. Like I always say, every single person in the world should have a life coach.
Yep.
I constantly say
Absolutely.
it, because imagine how much happier we would be if we all had a guide like that was constantly rooting for us and cheering us on. But I think you hit on something that was really important too. I notice in the coaching industry, there's coaches that are really a guide for people, and then there are coaches who want the ego boost and who want to be able to say that they changed your life, and that is not how you go about changing someone's life, by saying like, I'm going to be the hero of your story right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty apparent. You see it in their writing, which type of person that is.
Yeah, I think so. So now let's say someone got a Healthy Start Kit, right? Mm-hmm. How can they actually use the doTERRA essential oils? Because I know I've had several conversations now with people on Instagram who reached out to me and wanted to learn more about the oils, and they are really scared to use them at first, because they have come across so many that said, do not put this on your body. Like, warning, warning, don't put this on your skin. Don't put this on your face. Don't ingest this internally. Yeah. So people are like, oh my gosh, what am I getting into? And it's funny, like one girl, she asked me over and over and over again, she's like, are you sure I can put this on my skin? Are you sure I can? And I was like, yes, you can. Yeah. So can you tell us how you can actually use the doTERRA essential oils?
Yeah. And I actually asked you a question. So besides Deep Blue, which one of your favorites here that are in front of us?
The peppermint.
And how do you use the peppermint?
I diffuse it in the morning, so that helps me like wake me up. Matt and I also both use it before we go work out. So I always put some in my palm, and then I like take my finger and like I'll dab it around my nose. I'll rub my palms together and like breathe it in. And that like opens up your, what did you call it once? A bronchial dilator?
Yes.
It like opens up your chest. So we actually notice that we get more oxygen and we are able to work out longer and harder and like run farther and lift more weight. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like magic. It's so crazy. And I also like to use it to like, it makes me feel better. It makes me happier, So whenever I need like motivation or I just need a boost, I'm always breathing in peppermint oil or like applying it to my skin.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So you just answered some questions, and I'm going to point out now for the listeners to be like, oh, that's what it is. There's 3 ways to use doTERRA: aromatically, by smelling it in. The second one is topical. And then this is for doTERRA only, is internal. Okay. If you have other brands at home, like Heather has said, you're going to see on the bottle, it says not ingested, don't use this way or that way. Well, most of the doTERRA oils you can actually ingest because they are pure. I say most because some, the way they're, the chemical compounds, not chemicals man-made, but the way the plant is naturally made, some of them are high in something like phenols or other things that you shouldn't ingest it because it's so potent, right?
Okay.
So that's the only reason some oils can't be ingested, but most oils can be.
So can you give us an example of one maybe?
Wintergreen is a perfect example.
Okay.
So there's wintergreen gum, but that's not essential oil in there. That's really just the plant extract, and which is maybe about a 15-18% more powerful than the plant itself. Essential oils are 50 to 70 times more powerful than the plant itself.
Oh, wow.
So when now you have such a potency of wintergreen, then we can't ingest that. It's just not one that we would want to ingest because our body can't handle that much of a potency.
Okay.
So what I love about doTERRA is the bottles are clearly labeled, very clearly. As a matter of fact, you'll be really happy. There's so much information on there. Yeah. Versus just a couple of words or a sentence,
Right, yeah.
So, but again, most of them you can ingest. So back to your peppermint story. Now we know
Mhm.
we can use them aromatically, topically, and internally. You're using peppermint aromatically in the diffuser to create more energy, probably a little more alertness, right?
Mhm.
And then topically you're using it
Yeah. Oh, and I
again.
also take the peppermint capsules. I forgot. I take that and it helps with digestive issues and IBS.
So you use peppermint all three ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of peppermint.
Yeah. So peppermint's really good. I love that.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you, peppermint, just because I know I just love hearing your story about peppermint.
Yeah.
There's this great book, you guys. So you can ask Heather where to get this, but it's all about the emotions and essential oils. And peppermint, I'm just turning a couple pages to find it exactly.
Mhm.
But peppermint emotionally is all about a buoyant heart. Okay. Peppermint brings joy, buoyancy to the heart and soul. It invigorates the body, mind, and spirit, and reminds individuals that life can be happy and they don't have to be controlled by fear.
Mhm.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, I love that.
We all want to live like that.
Yeah, it was so funny. I was with your friend Tina one day.
Yeah.
She did a Zytoscan on me.
I love that.
And
That's so
she's
cool.
like, do you feel like you're really drawn to certain oils? Because she wanted to see if what I told her was going to show up on the Zytoscan too.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, I just can't get enough peppermint. I'm constantly smelling it. Like I'll take the bottle out and smell it. I'll put it on my hands. Like I'm always using it. She's like, oh, I know why. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I got the book and I was like, oh my gosh, that's why. I didn't realize I was actually drawn to the emotional benefits of the peppermint. But of course I had the physical benefits with working out and stuff like that, but I didn't realize the reason why I like couldn't get enough of it was because I needed that emotional support that peppermint gives you.
Yeah. It's so good. I love that you're getting more endurance from your workouts because you've discovered something that a lot of professional athletes have as well. And in doTERRA, we follow our professional athletes, the people who are Olympians, professional sports teams like with the NFL or tennis or basketball, whatever, they use doTERRA products. And one of the most popular is Breathe and Peppermint because it gives them more endurance. It helps exactly the way you said.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
That's so crazy.
And then Deep Blue is a huge favorite of theirs.
Of course, yeah.
And On Guard because they need to stay well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they write about it all the time. They're constantly.
Oh, that's so cool.
I
thought I was the
first
person who was onto this.
You're just a professional athlete, too.
Right. I didn't realize I was onto something.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
You're in good company.
And Matt too, he didn't use essential oils before we started dating. And it's so funny because now the more I've been using them and showing him how to use them, he's always like, I need peppermint. Like he always uses peppermint before he runs because he knows he can run so much farther. And he's always like, oh, I need Deep Blue. I need Serenity. And it's funny because now if I don't have those are all like examples of oils that we have like 3 bottles on hand at a time. But if for some crazy reason I don't have those oils in the house, he's like a little bit upset.
Yeah.
And kind of annoyed about it. And I just think it's so funny to have gotten a man to that point where he like has a little hissy fit if I don't have peppermint.
I love that. And your brain remembers. Your brain will remember what is good for you.
Yeah.
It remembers what's bad for you and sabotages you, but we can change those patterns. You know, you can work on changing those with a good coach like yourself.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So the next thing that I want to ask you is, you know, I feel like a lot of people, they get oils for the first time, but they don't really know how to use them specifically for their physical health and stuff like that. So I really want to just like throw different examples at you of different physical problems people might encounter throughout the day that they can use these oils from. And then you tell us how to use them. Okay. But by the way, I just want to mention to everyone listening that every single oil, product, book, something that might be mentioned, all of the links are going to be in the show notes. So if you hear us talking about a certain oil, frankincense, peppermint, whatever it may be, you can always get the links right below in the show notes. And a lot of them will be put in a shopping cart automatically for you. So you can just buy them without having to browse the site or look for them. So the first one that I want to start with I was not planning on starting with this one, but I feel like given the current situation, I definitely have to ask this. So right now we're in a global pandemic,
Yeah.
and I think everyone is really concerned about their immunity right now. So what can someone do with the oils if you're looking to boost your immune system?
My favorite oil, On Guard.
Mhm.
On Guard and oregano actually is what I'm going to tell you about.
Okay.
On Guard and oregano, basically, we would give you recipes for making that, like roller bottle, and ways to put that on in the morning and at night, where to put it. Bottoms of the feet and spine are really great areas. So rather than, I don't want to get into too much detail, but I want to give you the solutions and then basically how you would use it. So oregano is one of the, it goes after like really some serious things, basically. And coupling that with On Guard, that has 5 different plants in it, that's a really good way to do that. So we would teach you how to use those 2 oils. And you could be making mouthwashes, you could be making your own hand soap. It's very effective. Hand sanitizer, countertop cleaning spray. And by the way, there's free recipes on my YouTube channel. So my YouTube channel is the Herbal Cabinet. So once you get your kit from Heather, then you can always go to my YouTube channel and see some of these. They're just 5-minute videos of how to put together your immune system kit, with your On Guard.
And I saw your sanitizer,
Yes.
homemade sanitizer there and stuff like that.
So easy. For pennies, you can put this together. And I like that because now you just keep making it over and over again. But it's important that you are, using that On Guard hand sanitizer on the inside of your mask, a couple times a day as you're out and about, so that you're constantly working on killing anything that's trying to enter your body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I use
gargling
that
at the end of the day.
sanitizer spray, the On Guard doTERRA sanitizing spray, and I spray it on my mask too.
Yes.
I didn't actually think about it as immune boosting. I just like the smell of it.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the oregano, just a quick warning, make sure, whatever you get, make sure you get back with Heather so she can teach you how to use these, bring you into our essential oil community, which is rich with so much information and self-paced learning and group learning. But the oregano needs to be diluted, so you would never put that directly on your skin. So I just want to make a note of that.
Yes, I actually learned that the
So
hard way.
potent.
I did not know about that before I used oregano, because that was actually a bottle I kept around for years when I first got it, when I got my Healthy Start kit, and no one told me about that. So I think it was last year I was like, ooh, oregano, and I put it on my skin and started burning,
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely don't do that.
It's too strong to not be with a carrier oil. So the most effective is to put it with a carrier oil. We can help you with the dilution amounts and all that. I know you said your listeners often say, I just don't know how. And that's why we found that we have continuing education in our community, that once you're a member, it's free continuing education. It happens twice a week. If you're more of that self-paced person that just likes to look at stuff on your own, we have self-paced learning modules. We have 4 different ones in our community that you can take yourself through. And they're fun videos, of all of us teaching you how to do things. But you never have to worry about how to use things and how much and how, where to put it and all that kind of stuff with our community. So
everyone who becomes a wholesale customer, they automatically get my cell phone number to text me whenever they have questions. I do like free consultation calls to help people use the oils. And then as soon as they become a wholesale customer, they also get access to that Facebook community. So there's tons of education on there. And you guys are so great about educating people on the oils. And
it takes a community. We all do. And that's what's really nice, is you get to learn from a couple thousand people all together, because every one of us have different experiences. So you don't have to feel alone when you say, this is what's happening to me. Is there anyone in the community that I can reach out to?
Right.
There will be, because we all deal with different things.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And even if I don't have the answer, I can contact you or our other uplines or go in the Facebook community. I mean, that's what I love about it, is there's never going to be a time when you can't get an answer to how to use an oil or what you should use,
It's a community of caring. Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. So the next question that I want to ask you is, what if we're already sick? We've already come down with a cold or flu or something. What do we use then?
So you want 4 oils, and fortunately, I'm really glad these 4 oils are in that Healthy Start kit because they are critical. The On Guard and the oregano you're going to use very frequently now, but in addition, you're also going to use lemon and tea tree oil. So those 4 oils together, On Guard, lemon, oregano, and tea tree oil, when they're combined together like that, synergy takes over and can really go after anything that's going on in your body, because sometimes, let's face it, we don't know if it's a virus, a bacterial, a fungal infection. What is it? And you don't have to worry. With those 4 oils, it's going after all of it. So we would teach you how to use it aromatically, topically, and internally, and how often. Like the internally, every 4 to 6 hours you're going to be doing something internally. And so those kind of things start taking over. And with anything natural, it's about the consistency, keeping up with doing things regularly, and that it just works so well. Everyone that does this, everyone says they get through things so much quicker.
Wow.
Where in the past, maybe it took you, 4 or 6 weeks to fully get through the flu.
Right.
All of a sudden, you're like 5 or 6 days, you're feeling that much better. It's remarkable. The first couple of times it happens, you're like, what just happened? Was that a fluke?
Right.
Did that really happen? Nah, it must have just been a first time thing,
Yeah.
And then it happens again or whatever. Maybe you end up getting sick again. But over time, you find you really don't get sick. You're just not getting sick because you're recognizing the symptoms quicker and you attack it with the oils right away.
Okay. Wow. That's so cool.
And because your brain is remembering. Always remember, your brain is working for you. So then it's like, oh, I have this slight sore throat. I know what works. On Guard. Before you know it, you're already gargling with On Guard.
Yeah.
So you're never going fully into sickness.
Yeah. And you know what I do is I actually have those On Guard beadlets.
Oh, yeah.
And I take those whenever I travel. I always get sick when I travel. So I'm constantly popping the little beadlets.
Yeah.
All day
Those
long.
are good for kids too because they're so tiny. It's only a quarter
that's
of a
true.
drop.
And they're fun to take too. Yeah. But I love that stuff. So another thing that I wanted to mention too, you mentioned being consistent about it. I think that that's a really important thing because I think a lot of people expect the oils to be like a magic pill where they do it once, but it is something where you don't just you maybe use it in the morning, you continue to use it. It becomes more of a lifestyle and more of a routine. And that's when people notice that change in their health too.
Absolutely. And I think that's just healthier in any way, because if you think about it, a foundation of health is having daily healthy habits, right? So drinking water every day is healthy, eating good foods is healthy, being out in the sun, having a little bit of vitamin D is healthy. Same thing with this plant medicine. If you have a little bit each day, you're going to be better.
Right. Absolutely. So the next one I wanted to ask you about is anxiety. I feel like every single person I know on Instagram and every person who reaches out to me is telling me that they're dealing with anxiety and they want a holistic remedy. Not everyone wants to take, pills or something that they get prescribed from their doctor. So what would you recommend people use there?
Yeah. And I'm so glad you asked this because this is number one right now. The last 2 months with what we're going through right now, people can handle the first couple months, but this long, drawn out, dealing with all of this, anxiety already was a climbing situation coming up in people's lives. And now it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
And everyone from young children to in the 90s are dealing with anxiety. So it's very serious, and having some tools that are going to help is really critical. So I really love using Breathe first on the stomach.
Really?
Okay, so Breathe is typically something you use so you can breathe better. But what happens with anxiety is it's your digestion all of a sudden stops. You cannot, it's like that feeling in your stomach. Everything just stops. And it's because you're not breathing. You're shallow breathing, and you're always shallow breathing now. And it's anxiety just lays in there. It's setting up camp. So you need to remind yourself to breathe. So I usually recommend people put some breathe on their stomach and then also do some deep breathing work with the breathe. I love meditation and yoga and anything that supports that kind of thing, but you can just simply do 10 deep breaths with the breathe. So breathe blend is wonderful, but also using frankincense and lavender regularly. And you can use those aromatically, topically, and internally because helping your system, nervous system, and everything just to be more relaxed, not to be so stressed. Your body needs help. You can't do it alone. Most people cannot do this just alone. They need some help. So that lavender and frankincense are really good helpers.
Absolutely.
I love that.
I use them on my skin together too.
Yeah. There's such side benefits to all this. That's what I love it. A lot of other stuff has side effects.
Right.
With essential oils, it's side benefits.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah. I follow this one girl and she started using the oils and she started putting frankincense on her skin every day. And she has these deep, like dark acne scars that have been there for years. And she just started applying these to her acne scars and they're all gone now after 2 weeks of using
That's
frankincense.
awesome.
That's so crazy.
It's
So yeah, I
such a
use
good
it for
oil.
scarring. It's amazing.
Frank needs to be in everybody's life.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
frankincense
absolutely.
It's the best. It's a booster for everything it's with too. So whatever you put it with, it's just going to work better.
Right. Yeah, that's what I like about it. You can just mix it with anything and it makes it more powerful. It makes it work better.
Yeah.
So the next one I wanted to ask you about is what about improving our creativity and our motivation? Because I think we all need this being stuck at home right now. And especially when it comes to, creatives and entrepreneurs and stuff, we always need something to give us that, that extra boost. Yeah. So what would you recommend for that?
So one of the things that we have to look at is what actually prompts you to be more creative. And typically means you had a good night's sleep. Often it means that your brain is working better. It's a little more focused, has maybe some oxygen in it to think, right? And just more energy. So that's what we look at then of like making sure you're using oils to help you sleep well, okay? And then that energy. So we go back to peppermint, which is something that you use. You told your story of how you use the peppermint. I like to teach people my little, it's my version of Red Bull of doTERRA. And my version of Red Bull with doTERRA is 2 drops of lemon. And lemon is the oil of focus and concentration. Brings joy. It's uplifting. And then the peppermint, which you all know about now. So 2 drops peppermint, 2 drops of lemon in a shot glass with a little bit of water, and you kick it back. You are going to get some great energy, oxygenates the brain, and you're just like ready to go.
Yeah.
Whew, right? Yep. Immediate,
Absolutely.
So I really like that a lot. But you might also need to use the breathe. So just depending on if you are also experiencing anxiety, we go back to the breathe again. Because if you're not breathing fully, there's no way you're attracting that ability to think creatively and having motivation. We need to do some deep breathing so you can bring that into your body.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people also like to diffuse wild orange and peppermint together for motivation and creativity. Yeah, I did that a couple times too. Do it in my office and stuff like that. It's so nice. Yeah,
I love wild orange.
Yeah, I don't even light candles anymore. I just use my diffuser for everything because I know it's gonna like benefit me too. Not just smell nice.
Exactly.
So what about just energy in general with essential oils? Would you recommend the doTERRA Red Bull to us?
Yeah, the peppermint and lemon. And always remember you can diffuse that. So diffusing it, you can put it on topically. I like to show people how to make a roller bottle with that, with some fractionated coconut oil. And then you would put it on the back of your neck and behind the ears, because those are areas that it goes into the bloodstream very quickly, and see it's right next to your brain,
Okay.
So that's why you're going to get that immediate energy, is because of where you're putting it.
Okay.
So I really like that a lot. You can use the wild orange instead of the lemon, but the peppermint and lemon, they actually come in that kit, which is perfect because you hear now, we haven't even gotten into all of the things, but you're seeing that you have multiple uses for these oils.
Right, yeah.
And that's the power of this kit. you cannot go wrong with getting the Healthy Start Kit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your options then are just sort of limitless what you can do with them.
Yeah,
I love that
absolutely.
about it.
Yeah, it's a good value,
Yeah.
good deal. When I spend money, I'm like, I want to feel like I got such a good deal.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm gonna get so much for my money. And this is the kit.
Yeah, and they actually added a diffuser to the kit
Yes,
too.
I know.
When I enrolled, I didn't get the diffuser, and now people,
they
I
get
was
the diffuser
so
now.
bummed.
I know, it's so exciting. Like they just
Uh-huh.
keep getting things better and better.
I know. Yeah. That's what I love about doTERRA too. They actually want to improve your life and give you what you're paying for. They're not trying to scam you and like make you pay some outrageous amount for their oils. So
Good stuff.
another thing that I wanted to ask you about too is what about just breathing easier in general? Because I've had quite a few people come to me and they say that they have allergies or they have asthma. It seems like those are two really common things people deal with all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, anxiety comes up a lot, obviously, but allergies and asthma is right there because there's just so many people dealing with it. And one of the things that we can help you with is to look at what's in your home and what's happening that maybe possibly caused that. We can help you to start switching over, products, personal care products that might be causing more problems. You don't realize it because you might say, well, I used those dryer sheets for years. It can't be them.
Oh, wow.
Or I used that skincare system for years, or I used that lotion or that bath bar or that laundry detergent or these cleaners for years. Well, that's how those work, you guys. Little by little, they creep into your endocrine system and they creep into other parts of your body. And over time, they create problems and they sneak up on you. So that's how that works. And so the sooner you can begin to start not using some of those things that maybe you have in your home and switching over to something natural, the better.
Yeah.
That's what I did is I used to buy those dryer sheets. I was like, buy one, get one free, get those lavender dryer sheets. I did that.
The fake lavender
dryer sheets. And now
dryer
I think about it, it makes me sick. I didn't know.
Yeah.
When you don't know, you have no idea what it's doing to you.
Right.
And then I'm like, before I know it, I'm like going to an allergist. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I never had allergies before.
Right.
And then he's like, you kind of have asthma too because you're not breathing through that thing very well. When they test you for that. And then they put me on a prescription medication. I'm like, what the heck is happening? I never had these problems. Where's this coming from?
Right.
And then I started getting rid of this stuff. I've been off of that for years. I've never had to take that stuff again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So the oils you're going to use for this, there's 4 oils with the allergies, and they do work really well together. Just like the 4 oils for, cold and flu, there's 4 oils for allergies, and it's lemon, lavender, peppermint, and Frankie baby. Okay. Remember, Frank helps everything work better. So lemon, lavender, peppermint, we've already mentioned all these oils. So again, we're getting like multiple uses out of something. And basically you'd use them, in your diffuser regularly, make a roller bottle. You'll learn how and where to put those. And then you can also do an allergy shot instead of some of those over-the-counter medicines by putting a drop of each in a little shot glass with a little water, and you can drink that. And that's your allergy shot. It works pretty quickly. So if you're dealing with something right away, whether it's environmental, food, whatever, I'm not saying don't use your EpiPen. If you need an EpiPen, use your EpiPen. But many people find that they have their EpiPen and now all of a sudden it's years later, they still haven't used it. It's because now they're working proactively on this. So it's pretty remarkable. I have hundreds of stories about allergies now. It's so many people that have had such great success. Asthma is really breathe is one of your best oils, and then frankincense helps it. So using that aromatically and topically, it's wonderful. And many people find that they're just using their inhalers less and less and less.
It's funny you should say that. I actually had someone reach out to me and she said she doesn't have to use her inhaler anymore because she uses a breathe roller topically all the time now. And she just starts to apply it to her chest when she normally would reach for her inhaler, and she doesn't have to use it anymore.
Yeah. And that's great because, there's basically the inhalers are steroids. And so over time, that's really not good for your body. So, and most people know that. Most people realize, but when you can't breathe, you can't breathe. You're
Right.
wanting
Yeah.
to breathe. So little by little, when you start creating this daily habit of using something, then your mind again will remember and be like, now I want to. I'm actually craving using that because I know it helps me.
Right. That's
So,
true. Yeah. Because now I don't have to think about using these things. I just
yeah.
automatically crave the deep blue and the
Yeah.
peppermint or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Just
That's so
takes a little
interesting.
time to create those habits, and that's why you have a guide to help you. But once the habits are there, there's no going back.
Right. So, what about pain relief and soreness? I know
Yeah.
Matt could really use this right now.
Yeah.
We're working on
that's
converting
so
a school
cool.
bus right now into an RV, so he's sore all the
I got to
time.
see it, you guys. It's so
Yes.
cool. He bought this bus and he's converting it. I think that's awesome. I love it. So you know that deep blue works really well.
Right.
But sometimes it needs a little help.
Okay.
So I like to teach people how to use lavender and frankincense with the deep blue.
Okay.
And frankincense is one of the best anti-inflammatories there is, along with turmeric, which we have turmeric essential oil too. But you can't go wrong with those two for reducing inflammation. And then lavender is actually an analgesic, and a lot of people don't realize that. Analgesic means pain reliever. It is that, and most people associate lavender to relaxing, which it does that too. But remember, plants are pretty complex. They can do a lot of things.
Right.
And that's what I love that. You can have one oil and it does all these things.
Right. Yeah. So would you recommend putting them on topically, or is there something you should take internally too?
Topically, I would put that with some fractionated coconut oil, or you can use doTERRA as a great unscented lotion. I love it. The unscented lotion they have was made, first, it's pure, no parabens, no phthalates, none of the garbage. But it was made so that you can make your own lotions. So if you wanted a pain relieving lotion, you can make your own and put the deep blue, the lavender, and the frankincense in it. So either, I usually tell people or ask them first, I'll say, well, do you like to put a lotion on or a cream, or would you like an oil to put on? And they'll say, well, let's start with the lotion, or they'll say, I like oils. So then, based on what they answer, I'll recommend either the fractionated coconut oil or the lotion.
That's so smart that you do that. I hadn't thought to ask people that before. Like, would you rather use a cream or an oil? Because that adds to the fun of the experience, and then you're more likely to do it again.
Yeah, and it needs to be something a little bit more familiar because pain is very serious. And if it's difficult for them to do, it's not. It's going to be a little harder to create that habit.
Right. I never thought about that. That's so interesting.
The lavender and the frankincense, though, remember, those can be ingested.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden you can give yourself a little lavender frankincense shot, meaning when I say shot, I mean shot glass of a couple of drops of each with a little water and use that. So, and there are additional oils, Heather, but that's a very good place to start. I don't like to go too deep into pain. Pain is as serious as sleep. Sometimes we have to work with a little bit before we get your right formula. And that is the only comparison I will say of what oils are to pharmaceutical medications. As you know, when you go to a doctor, sometimes they have to play around with the dosage to get the right fit. Same with oils. Sometimes we have to play around with the oils until we get the right fit. That's where the comparison ends, though. So those two things, sometimes we have to do that with the oils.
I agree with that. Yeah, if you use something and you're like, well, it's not working for me, don't think that essential oils won't work for you, because every single person's body is so different. There's an element of bio individuality there. So we have to sort of play with certain things until we find the right thing for us. I mean, you and I worked on my digestion together for 6 months and we were like, all right, we've got it now.
Yeah. We tried a few products and I'm so glad you stuck in there. And that's the thing, when people want, when they find a good guide that they appreciate being patient with them, they're like, yes, I'll keep trying. Yeah. I will keep trying because I want to be well. Right. Yeah. So that's the important part of having a good guide, someone who's going to stick there with you and not just give up after, like, you say to them, it didn't work. And they're like, oh, well, thanks for trying. Yeah. You're like, what? You're leaving me hanging here. Yeah, absolutely. So instead, it's like, okay, well, let's try something else.
Right. Yeah.
Let's figure this out.
That was so helpful. I'm going to have Matt today take some lavender and frankincense in a shot glass when he comes in, because we've been doing the topical stuff, but I think it might help him internally.
Yeah, a lot of times you got to work from within.
Because sometimes you have to figure out, sometimes topically works better for some people, sometimes internally works better, sometimes diffusing works better, and sometimes you might need a combination of some of those things before it works.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So what about headaches? This is something that I dealt with for most of my life. What would you recommend people use with that?
Really the same. We could work with that same pain, combination, the deep blue, the frank, and the lavender.
Mm-hmm.
I usually like to go directly to that because first of all, it came in your kit, so why not use it? But some people, they actually really like frankincense. Now here, I'm going to show you something a little bit different. If you put a drop of frankincense on just the pad of your finger or the thumb,
Mm-hmm.
and then put that on the inside of the mouth and hold it to the roof of your mouth. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And some people will do this with lavender, but most people have success with the frankincense. One drop, pad of your thumb, inside of the mouth, hold it to the roof of the mouth for about 30 seconds. And boom, it just starts to dissipate the headache, including migraines. So that's a really good place to start with that, along with the topical. Okay, topical, we need to as close as possible around the head, the neck, behind the ears,
Right.
Also, always breathing those oils in.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people will add a little bit of peppermint to that mix. And peppermint oxygenates the brain, so that's always a good thing when it comes to headache or, and you could always put the peppermint on the roof of your mouth too.
Yeah.
Just a little bit though.
Right.
It's so strong.
It was very strong.
It's not gonna burn. It's just gonna be like, woo!
Yeah, it definitely wakes you up.
Right?
It's very, very potent, very powerful. Now, what about sleeping better at night? Because I know this is something that a vast majority of people have problems with, and we all have our little, what's it called, melatonin and stuff like that. So what can we use instead of all that?
Yeah, and there's a lot of controversy on melatonin, for short periods of time. I agree that can be good, but we always want to look at what's a long-term result, or what's a long-term thing you can use for better results. So I like to start with lavender and frank again. And again, we were talking about the same oils, you guys. It's all great. They're able to be used this way. Diffusing it for sure, using it topically and internally. So all three ways for sleep. Now, does it work sometimes just topically for people? Yes. I even know somebody who just lavender works for them. I know a few people. Most people, that's not enough though. They need something more. So what I will usually start with is the lavender and the frankincense, all three ways, and see how that's going for them. Many people, that's all they need.
And where do you recommend they apply it? If they make like a roller bottle, or they just use the drops?
Yes, this is, I like to show them how to have a nice nighttime ritual routine. And by the way, definitely revisit your sleep hygiene, meaning like, how is your room? Is it a cooler temperature? Is it, do you have blackout curtains there? Is there no TV or is there a TV? We want to look at the sleep hygiene of what's the atmosphere as well as what's your routine right before bed, because there could be something disrupting it, So sleep is a big deal, but there's some great parameters you can look at. But after you start getting the diffuser going, is I make the roller, right? And the roller you're going to put in the palm of your hand, and you're going to take 10 nice long deep breaths. We always want to help your body first by smelling it, always. And it sends the signal to the brain, it's time to go to bed. It's time to relax. And then you go ahead and put it on the back of the neck, behind the ears, up and down the spine as much as you can reach, and the bottoms of the feet. So it's really, by feeding it into the spine, you're putting it into the nervous system, right? Bottoms of the feet, it's going into the bloodstream. So all those areas, and you just make it a nice routine that you're taking care of your body.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. I'm going to start doing that. I usually just use Serenity, but I want like a nighttime roller bottle that I can use too. So, that's so cool.
And if you have kids, oh my gosh, this works so well, because aroma and touch together is beautiful. That is so healing. So now envision like someone who has kids and now they're putting them to bed at night. Maybe you have a bedtime story or whatever. Now all of a sudden you get the roller out and you're rubbing their back with the oil on the bottoms of their feet. They will want that every night.
Mm-hmm.
And now you created a beautiful routine and a great connection,
Mm-hmm.
and your partner, your spouse, you can do the same kind of thing. And that touch is a whole another element that is very loving and healing,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll sleep better.
Yeah, I completely agree. I help Matt fall asleep at night with the Serenity. I always put the Serenity on his chest,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like rub it in and I lift it up and like hold my palm up to his, nose. And he's always like, "Can you put some Serenity on me?"
He becomes a kid, right?
He acts like a kid.
That's what
It's so
happens.
funny. Yeah. And you and I both learned, because we both studied at IIN, that touch is so healing.
It is.
And a lot of times, people reach for certain things, like even affairs, because they're just craving an element of touch,
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
remember Joshua, the founder of IIN, saying a couple times, like, imagine how many relationships would be saved if people just went and got a massage.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth, though? Human connection and touch is so important, especially right now,
Yes.
because you're not able to touch everyone else out there. So whoever's in your house, if you're alone, find that one person or that couple of people that you can support each other,
Right.
to really have touch involved in some way of hugging and just being together or something.
Right. Absolutely.
It's really important.
Now, what about when it comes to improving our digestion or our gut health?
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of us have had our digestion ruined from antibiotics and stuff like that. So what can we do?
Yeah. There is one oil in particular that I love, and it's called Digest Zen, Zen. And Digest Zen was formulated to really help with all digestive issues. And I like that because it works so well, and it has peppermint and coriander and aniseed and fennel and all these things and ginger, things that are traditionally known to help with digestive anything. So I like that a lot, and you can use that internally and topically. The only time you really diffuse that is if there's actually like something going on, a stomach virus type thing going on in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would definitely diffuse it in that case. So one family member is getting it from the next, that you better start diffusing it too.
Yeah.
But normally you would just use that topically and internally. And, anytime I have any kind of a rich meal, I come home from that, or if, wherever, then I go ahead and take a couple of drops, put it in some water, and I drink it. Here's my husband's version of Digest Zen.
Mm-hmm.
He waits until, and I'll say, like I used to say, like, do you want some too? No, I'm fine. 15 minutes later, 30 minutes later, I should have used the digestion.
Yeah.
So he's like then taking the Digest Zen.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm totally fine because I knew that I probably wouldn't feel very good because I was feeling full. So I used it preventatively. I'm totally fine.
Yes.
Now he's in pain,
Yeah.
So now sometimes peppermint works better. And peppermint's really specific to like IBS and can be linked emotionally too. So don't hesitate. Peppermint comes in that kit. Start with Digest Zen, but sometimes the peppermint alone actually works better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I found my magic was the peppermint capsules that I used that worked for me so well. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I could do now without the peppermint capsules. So yeah, they work amazing. So another one that I'm curious about is cramps, because a lot of women are going to be listening to this podcast. Yeah. So I know this is something we struggle with all the time, and it's like something that is so painful, and we all have our little rituals and stuff, but it seems like they don't completely work. We still have the pain.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things, and my daughter is 17, so we've really worked hard on getting her cycle regular, and a lot of women, it's like it's all over the place, right? You get heavy periods, you get them whenever, they're not on a regular schedule, and then you are just down and out for a couple of days, those first couple of days, and sometimes the whole time,
right?
And then not even mentioning right now the emotional impact that has. And so PMS is such a real thing. So the best thing to work on is trying to get things regular and not so heavy. Okay. Because that's shown to then go through a regular, a little bit more normal cycle. If you can get it regular, not so heavy, you won't have all those cramps that are so bad. You might have a little bit, but not bad. And then also the hormone imbalance as far as the mood isn't as bad. So we need to work on getting regular. Now, when you're in the moment, the pain roller is really good. So putting that pain roller on, and then you can alternate warm and cold compresses even. And just be careful of not too long with a heating pad because it actually brings more blood flow to the area. So we would want to what chases away heavy periods is cold. I know you don't want to put anything cold on your stomach,
Right.
but so like maybe an alternating cold pack for 5 minutes and a little bit of warmth for 10 minutes, just to help you feel better. But that will also drive the oils in
Okay.
by putting that, heat or cold, it will drive it in more.
Oh, that's so interesting. I
Yeah.
never thought about
So
that.
just that lower abdomen, but also the lower back. Okay, so you need to treat both areas because the oils can access from both sides. So the
okay.
right about the tailbone area, but also the lower abdomen. So that's the pain roller, and you can take that lavender and frankincense internally too. But long term, you want to start using Clary Calm. Clary Calm is a roller that has 11 plants in there to help you regulate your cycle. And then what you're going to find is if you put that on the bottom of your feet and the inside of your ankles every night, you're going to find that each cycle gets better and better and better.
Oh my goodness, no way.
Yeah. So with my daughter, now it took several months, more than just a few months, only because the first time she tried, she's like, it's not working. Here. She puts it back to me. And then she starts, I think it might be working, and then life happens and she stops using it again. So we've been through this for a little while. Now it's been probably about a year that she does not use it because she's been proven to herself that this works.
Okay.
And now she has like a normal, really regular cycle and just a little bit of cramping, nothing major.
Right.
You should have symptoms. We're women. We're supposed to, we don't want to erase all of that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be crippled up, not able to work, and just really not even liking your own self.
Right. Yeah.
We don't want to be there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And that is good all the way even through perimenopause and menopause, by the way, that Clary Calm roller. I'm now through menopause or through perimenopause, and I just hit menopause. So I'm using that every night to minimize those symptoms too.
Oh, okay.
It's remarkable.
All right. I'm going to start doing that now too. I just got my Clary Calm in, but I wasn't sure what to do with it yet because, I just get multiple oils at a time. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. So yeah, I'm going to start doing that tonight before bed.
So I put my sleepy roller on, and then right afterwards I put my Clary Calm. Just layer it right over. So you can put
multiple. Yep. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Layering actually makes things even work better.
Really?
Yeah. You just put one right after the next. You're rubbing it in, so the transfer of heat from your palm drives it in further.
Okay.
So it's good.
All right. Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Every time I'm around you, I learn more, Jen. So what about weight loss? Because I know a couple people have come to me and they've told me that they've put on the COVID-10, the COVID-15.
Quarantine counts.
Yes, exactly. What can we do about that?
Yes. So when you want to work on it, probably the easiest place to start is really using lemon in your water regularly. And you can put a little peppermint in too. The lemon is actually helping to suppress the appetite, and the peppermint is driving your metabolism a little bit more. And driving metabolism just makes you, have more energy to burn the fat. So that is excellent. So using that lemon and peppermint. And then down the road, you may want to try an oil blend that was put together for this. It's called Slim and Sassy. Slim and Sassy has lemon and peppermint in it, but it also has cinnamon and ginger, again, helping with metabolism. And then also some grapefruit, which helps suppress the appetite along with that lemon. So that works really well. I like diffusing Slim and Sassy because emotionally it helps you to kind of cut the cravings a little bit and not be thinking about some of the sugar, things like that. So a lot of people don't realize you can diffuse it, and it works pretty well.
Okay. I love putting Slim and Sassy in my water. I love the taste of Slim and Sassy.
Yeah. Now, some people don't like the taste of it, so you can actually get it in soft gels.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
that you don't have to taste it. But
good.
it's like a 50-50. Half the people love it, and half the people are like, no, I'm going to get the soft gels.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now people have heard about the different physical symptoms and concerns that they can use essential oils with at this point. But how long? I know you've worked with hundreds and hundreds of people at this point. What is that journey usually like for people when they're like, okay, they're initially interested in doTERRA, they're interested in the oils, they want to improve their health and well-being. How long is it, and what is that journey like before they're like, oh my gosh, this stuff works, oils have changed my life? What is that like for them?
It is, I do get this question a lot because people are like, how soon will I find results? Because
Okay.
we're all result driven. We don't want to work on something unless we're going to see results. And that does go back to two things. You being willing to try some things out and go back to your guide. If things aren't working, tell them right away so that they can start tweaking things for you, and willing to really work on your health. I usually tell people, I say, put in your mind that you're going to work hard on your health for 90 days. And if you don't see any results, okay, but really think about it for 90 days, because most of us are thinking in our mind, I need to see results in a week or today or within 3 days. We're so short term.
Yes.
So if I set that precedence of let's work on it for 90 days, automatically your brain's like, okay.
Yeah.
You settled in your mind. So it's important for you to think about that. The other is getting a good guide that's going to help you, of really making sure that when you come back to them and you say, this isn't working, they're not going to say, oh, thanks for trying.
Yeah.
Instead, they're going to say, okay, we're going to now amp it up a little bit. We're going to do this now.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to check in with you a couple of days, see how it's going.
Right. Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like you're in this together, So that is really important. With that said, we know your story, right? So you really connected after about 6 months of, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I now love this, and this. It's working.
Yeah.
This is like, I'm onto something here.
Right.
And what happened after that happened?
I feel like I started getting like the other benefits from them, and all of a sudden I noticed that my initial reaction when things were going wrong, like now I'm not like, oh, I'm nauseous, I need Pepto-Bismol, I go to ginger automatically. If I have a headache, I'm like, I'm going to go grab my peppermint, like the automatic reaction is now to reach for the oils. So I feel like those were the major differences I saw with myself.
And that's exactly what happens to people, but it's trying to figure out when is it going to be that they have their breakthrough.
Yeah.
Right? So for you, it was about 6 months. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say it's from the first moment they use it, and that does happen. I know it's funny to think like, is it for real that somebody could use something once and they get an immediate reaction? Absolutely. I know so many people that happened to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say from 0 days, 1 day, to 6 months. Maybe it's 9 months, but that's usually the time frame. If you're sticking with things and working on it, you can really cut that down a little bit. It just depends. You have to really have a desire to really want to work on your health. And being with that guide and being honest with them, saying this is not working kind of thing. So there's one person that I helped recently. It was one of my other customers shared, was so interesting to me. She shared lemon with her topically on her stomach for digestion. Okay. I wouldn't have chose that oil. I would have chose Digest then. When she called me to say, so-and-so told me to call you because she's got her oils from you. She shared with me lemon. It worked right away. I couldn't believe it. I need to get some oils. This is all coming out on the phone. All I said was hello. For her, immediately she had a result. A couple of drops of lemon rubbed topically into her abdomen.
Wow. Lemon. Huh.
From that day on, I continue to check in with her. She buys things monthly. She's working on one thing after the next. The floodgates open. And the last conversation, it was about 10 days ago with her. She said, I still cannot believe what's happening in my life.
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, she sounds so happy too.
Mm-hmm.
So emotionally now she's in a really good place. She's like, everything I try is just working.
Yeah.
I feel better than I ever have. It's just amazing. I can't believe this, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
she's bubbling over. We all wish we had that experience.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen like that for everyone. So
right.
the question's hard to answer in the fact that I never know when the breakthrough is going to happen,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
But I'm with you to help you, and I know you are. You know, Heather,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to stay with them until that breakthrough happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it might be a little bit. It might just
I
take
know.
some time.
I remember
That's okay.
I was talking to you, and I was talking to my friend Carla too. She's also a doTERRA wellness advocate. And I was saying, like, I was just so frustrated because everyone who talks about oils is like, oh my God, oils changed my life. And I thought they were crazy. And I was also partially mad that I didn't have that
like,
experience.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, why can't I seem to get it?
Yeah.
And then it happened with me after like 6 to 8 months. And it was funny, like that started happening right after I vocalized. I was upset that it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to use oils for everything. And now it's like that shift where whenever I have a problem in my life, no matter what it is, if I have anxiety, if I'm upset about the given situation in the world, if I'm feeling like I'm having a scarcity mindset, my first instinct is to now go to the oils, which is so cool. Is it really just, you know, all of a sudden they start to impact your body physically and then they have that connection to your emotions, you know, where they work together? How is it that an oil can help with something that is, you know, your mental state or your spiritual practice?
This is the hardest part really for a lot of people to understand, but it really is. It's not physical. It is immediately mental. And mental wellness is so important to talk about now. And I'm so glad that more and more people openly talk about mental wellness because, like I said, anxiety, panic attacks, this is a norm right now, you know, and depression goes with anxiety. So those go hand in hand. But I'll give you an example of if anyone's ever been in the hospital and had to go under for surgery. So they put this mask on you, right? And they're putting basically what's coming in there is synthetic man-made gas, right?
Right.
And they tell you to count back from 10. And maybe you remember 9, maybe 8, and you're out.
Yeah.
You're breathing that in. It's hitting the amygdala, center of emotions and feelings, and it's relaxing your brain in a mega way.
Okay.
So now all of a sudden, when they put the IV in and they're actually bringing you down further, that's how that works. But it starts here. It starts by actually breathing that in. And that's a synthetic, you know, gas basically versus an essential oil. But it's telling your brain to relax. It's telling your limbic system to relax. So it is immediate. It's immediately communicating with your brain.
Yeah.
We can do that with the oils. But whether we recognize it or not.
Yes, absolutely.
It takes time.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's why I want to keep like bringing this up too throughout this podcast episode is I want people to understand it and get all of these different reasons why so that they can make that connection, because we are just so programmed to believe that our emotional body and our physical body are so separate. So I'm glad that you brought that up, for example, because that might be the connection that someone needs to be like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand how that works now. You know, it took me a lot of times of hearing it before I finally realized that oils can help with your emotions too.
Yeah.
So
it's a big deal. You open the gates to that and everything is possible. Everything. Because the mind is so powerful when you begin to learn what oils are good for the frontal lobe versus back here. You know, there's actually a brain chart and, you know, you can look at it and be like, if you know anything about brain health. So there's some people who specialize in that and they love this because they're like, okay, I know now that the trauma that this person endured, it's sitting in this part of the brain. So we need to use these oils because that activates that part of the brain. This is how the science is. It's so in depth. So the tools are there. Yeah. It's just using them and being open to using them and working on them. Right. And knowing that health is a journey, just like life is. And I'm telling you, it's just when people take on that journey of their mental wellness with the oils, they never go back. Right. They never go back to the old ways. They just want to learn more. They want to go deeper into it. And then they
Absolutely.
can't help but tell people too, because when you have a breakthrough emotionally and mentally yourself, you want everyone to know about it. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh my God,
Right.
you guys, there's other things out there. Like, and you're like, you just got to try this,
It's so fun. That's like what I was sharing. I shared my manifestation story on the podcast, and I was saying like over and over again how as soon as I had that breakthrough, I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to tell everyone about it. Like, this is real, because as soon as you have that experience for yourself, all of a sudden you want to scream it from the rooftops, and you want it to benefit other people too. You just want them to have that experience as you, especially people you care about.
Yep, absolutely. Because you know that how it is to suffer.
Yes.
And suffering is not fun.
No, not even a little bit. So now moving on to how we can actually purchase these oils, because I feel like some people might be really excited now. They want to try doTERRA, they want to get their hands on it, but people typically, when they first use the oils, they often make a retail purchase, right? Mm-hmm. So can you share with us the benefits of being a doTERRA wholesale customer versus someone who just pops in for a retail purchase?
Yeah. So yeah, I like that doTERRA you can purchase a couple different ways, but most people actually do become wholesale customers because you get 25% off the oils right away.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I see out there though is that option isn't offered to a lot of people. They have no idea. They didn't know they could get that.
Oh, I see.
I meet people all the time. They're like, I bought this retail from, from a chiropractor I used to have or whatever. And then when I tell them about wholesale, they're like, why didn't I know about that?
Right.
Nobody ever told me I can buy 25% off. So once people see their options, then you can choose yourself. Mm-hmm. The wholesale membership it's a win-win-win-win. Mm-hmm. There's no obligation. Mm-hmm. You purchase your oils at 25% off, and you have your membership for the next 12 months. Mm-hmm. So kind of like a Sam's Club or a Costco, when you go in the store, you save. If you don't go in the store, nothing happens, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same thing with your membership. When you decide to use it, you're getting 25% off. If you don't decide to use it, that's okay. Yeah. So I love that. Now there's two ways. You want me to tell you about the two ways to become a wholesale? Okay. Mm-hmm. So becoming a wholesale customer, you can either purchase a kit that's already loaded for you. And when you get an enrollment kit, which by the way, there's ones anywhere from $105 to $575. So all sorts of kits, that waives the $35 membership fee. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good way to go. And with the Healthy Start Kit, you guys, that's only $160, 160.
Yeah, for basically all of the oils that we talked about today, the breeze, the wild orange, the lavender, the deep blue, frankincense, all that kind of stuff.
10 oils. Mm-hmm. You got your medicine cabinet ready to go with a diffuser. And it includes the membership because you don't pay for that for the next 12 months. So I love that kit. Mm-hmm. But you do have an option that you can pay $35 for your membership and get whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And when you get whatever you want, remember you're getting it at 25% off immediately on that very first order. So I appreciate that doTERRA allows this flexibility so that you can choose for yourself what works best for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. So the Healthy Start Kit how much was that again?
That's $160.
Okay.
Can I tell them there is a special this month?
Yeah.
And this month is July of 2020, in case you listen to this down the road. If you listen to this in the future, just make sure you ask Heather if there's any specials going on, because we never know what doTERRA does. They sometimes have specials, you know? But this one is pretty lucrative. So if you get this kit, then next month in August, just a month from now, they're automatically going to put 50 product credits in your account to use whenever you feel like it. So 50, that's equivalent to $50 in free oils. I wish this was available when I signed up. So that's awesome. You buy this kit for $160, knowing that next month you have 50 free bucks to use.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you're a wholesale customer, so you save 25% on all the oils.
Yeah.
It always makes me cringe when people buy retail, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm so used to buying them at such a discounted price that I would never ever buy retail again.
Why buy retail?
Yeah.
It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make any sense at all when you know you can get this and there's no like, we're not making you do anything else.
Right, yeah.
You know, because that's the hesitation.
There's no
like,
hidden agenda.
What's the angle on this? And,
yeah.
And it's good to ask those questions, because unfortunately there's organizations and companies out there that get you into something, and you all of a sudden you're like, what? I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So it's good to ask those questions for sure.
Right.
But yeah, we can send you this in writing and everything, that there is no other, you know, no other obligation except that you're going to now begin having some great benefits to all of this.
Exactly. Yeah. And then from now on, any oils I recommend, you can save a ton of money on them.
Yeah.
And also, I'm wondering if people are putting together a little cart, or they, click on, a link to a cart I've already made for them, maybe the Healthy Start Kit or something. Is there anything else you would recommend they add to sort of add to their experience in using the oils for the first time?
Absolutely. So Heather's going to be giving you some recipes to make, and you'll want some empty roller bottles to do that, and some fractionated coconut oil. So at the bare minimum, get a 6-pack of empty rollers. It's only $4.75 extra.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fractionated coconut oil to go with it. If you're interested in lotions, get the unscented lotion, so that you can make your own lotions. So any of those are good, but bare minimum, get the fractionated coconut oil and a 6-pack of rollers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a great place to start.
Yep. And then once you do become a wholesale customer too, make sure to go to my Calendly link in the description box, and we can set up a consultation together.
Yeah.
So that's how you can get extra information and recipes if you want it. And if you're interested, I can continue to work with you and help you figure out what works for your body type and all that kind of stuff. And I always have access to Jen to ask her more questions.
It's great.
Yes, exactly. And can you also tell us the difference between a wholesale customer in doTERRA and us, right? The doTERRA wellness advocates, because I get asked that sometimes.
Gosh. And now I'm telling you, if you are thinking about building an income that's going to be around for a long time, and what I mean by that is, you have your day job, and maybe, when you go to work, you get paid. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's called active income. So you have a stream of active income, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have residual income in your life? Have you started working on that? Would you like to learn more about residual income? And that means when you put basically some effort in over a period of a few years, and then over time, it starts paying you back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So real estate, it could be potentially an example of that. Residual income is what doTERRA does best. Okay. As a wellness advocate, you're working on residual income. And we're really good at teaching people how to do that effectively versus spinning your wheels. So really helping you to put that effort in to work on your doTERRA business and get the income that you want, depending on what you want. So being a wellness advocate means you run your business, your doTERRA business, whatever way it fits in your life. If you want to get your oils paid for, well, then 3 to 5 hours a week is going to be just fine, working on your doTERRA business. If you want supplemental income, we're looking at 5 to 15 hours a week, okay? If you want to replace it and go all in, well, then it's probably going to be about 15 to 30 hours a week. So you just tell us where you're at, and we'll help support you with where your goals are, okay? So wellness advocate means you are now working your doTERRA business and teaching other people about natural lifestyle. And some people will ask, like, well, is it the right thing for me? I would invite you to another conversation where we can have myself, you, and Heather, we can get on a 3-way phone call and just chat a little bit more about, is this the right thing for you? And we'll ask you some questions about where you're at. What's your expectation? How much would you like to make monthly? And then we would set up a second call and actually present a business plan, something to get started with, a 30, 60, 90-day plan based on what you shared with us. So that's what I would invite you to, is another conversation. These are just a couple of questions for you to ask, before you decide to go ahead and say to Heather, yeah, let's talk more. Let's set up that, just a 20-minute phone call with you and Jen. So do you like people? Because you kind of have to like people, right? If you don't, this probably isn't the right thing for you, all right, as far as a wellness advocate. And then, are you looking for more ways to earn a monthly income? Is that yes or no? If it's a yes, great. And the last question to ask yourself is, do you enjoy learning more about natural health? Because you have to have a desire about wanting to learn more about natural health. You can continue to work on your natural health while you're helping others. That's never a problem, but you have to have a desire for it, a desire to actually want to be more natural and figure out solutions. So those are the three things I always tell people. They're like, am I a good fit for this? Well, do you like people? Are you looking for more ways to increase your monthly income? And do you enjoy learning more about natural solutions? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that, we don't ever pressure people to do that. Whenever they feel called, usually it's after people have that aha moment where they're like, oh my gosh, these work.
Yeah.
And I know you talked about the possibility of becoming a wellness advocate a few times. And it was after I had that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I want to share this with people, and that's usually when that passion sort of comes in and you want other people to know about these oils and get their hands on them and have the same experience as you. So yeah, that's always a possibility in the future if you want to create a business and share these oils all the time like we do. Before you head out, I have to ask you, Jen, do you have a favorite essential oil?
Oh my gosh, sandalwood.
Sandalwood,
I love
really?
sandalwood.
Wow.
So eventually I call it my spirit oil. And at some point during your journey, you'll probably have one too. And sometimes people say, well, how do I know if it's my spirit oil? And it could change over time. Like it could graduate to something else. All right. But it's that oil that as soon as you smell it, you're just like, love this oil. I just want to use it.
Yeah.
you're like, well, that's what it is with sandalwood. I just want to use it. I want to smell it. I want to put it on my third eye, around my eyes, back of the neck. I use it in just such a nurturing, caressing way. I love sandalwood. So that is my spirit oil.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know spirit oils were a thing. That's me and Serenity. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So Serenity is my spirit oil. That's why I get so hyped up about it.
It's like another lover.
Right. Exactly. That's why I buy 3 bottles at a time. Can't be without it. Yeah, I have this relationship with Serenity now.
You got your spirit oil.
And lastly, where can people get in touch with you in the future if they want to learn more?
Everything's really on the Herbal Cabinet. My company is called The Herbal Cabinet. And so it's theherbalcabinet.com, and everything's there. Under the Learn tab, you'll find a bunch of free learnings. There's a blog, cooking area, and my YouTube channel. And but you can also see, browse that area. Yeah. Take a look.
And on your website, you're always offering different classes and stuff like that people can sign up for. Do you do some of them on Zoom, or are they mostly?
Those are all via Zoom.
Local?
So under the Learn tab, you'll see virtual workshops, and I teach every single week.
Okay.
Yeah. Different topics.
Yes. So people can still learn about this even in quarantine.
That's right. That's right. And many, many are.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Jen. I really appreciate it. You know so much about oils. I learn more and more from you every single time I see you. So thank you so much.
Here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, we'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you.
I really hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode with my good friend, Jennifer Gilman, and my now upline, I should say. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I hope that it introduced you to the world of essential oils and answered any questions that you might have had, or just got you excited to explore these oils and holistic healing now and in the future. I've become so excited about essential oils, obviously, since working with Jen. She helped me with so many random health ailments and issues that I was having because I do not know what happened to me, but literally, as soon as I moved to St. Pete, the day after I moved to St. Pete, I started having all of these crazy health problems. And my body was just so screwed up for some reason. I remember I was thinking that it was like the air. I was changing air filters. I was like trying to change water. I was changing my diet. I was working with a health coach. I was seeing different doctors, and I just could not figure out what was going on with me. And I actually started talking to several doctors and different herbalists, and they actually would tell me a couple times that they kind of thought I was lying. And I was like making it up, and they didn't really believe like what was happening to me, and they were just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And they kind of thought it was all in my head, and that got really frustrating for me because I dealt with that for a year and a half. And then I ended up meeting Jen, and just through working with her, she helped me with all of the different health problems I was having. And I'm so thankful that she came into my life. And now I'm so thankful for these essential oils and for the supplements from doTERRA. And, now I'm to the point where I don't have to reach for all of those other crutches and things at the pharmacy to help me feel better throughout the day. So I'm just feeling so much better than I have in a really long time. And honestly, I'm very shocked to say this and now to be a doTERRA wellness advocate because there was a time when I did not believe in essential oils and I did not believe that they really could improve your health. I thought that people really just used them because it was fun and they thought it was cool or trendy. I just didn't really think that they did anything. And now to be on the other side of it, having said that, oils changed my life, it's just so crazy to me. So I want to help you have that exact same experience too. And I want you to have your life improved through using these oils too. And I wanted to talk about this and give you an intro to essential oils on this podcast because I really believe that essential oils are a powerful tool to improve your health, your emotional state, and your mental well being. And by doing so, you are raising your vibration. Because remember, I always say that this podcast, we talk about lifestyle and wellness practices to help you raise your vibration. Well, this is it. This is one of those ways to raise your vibration. Essential oils have become a huge part of this for me because I know that if I improve my health, if I am improving my mental state, if I am improving my emotions, if my body feels better, my mind feels better, if I'm feeling healthier and happier, then I am more magnetic to what I want to manifest. And I just naturally feel better. I attract better things into my life and the cycle continues. So now essential oils are a huge part of my life. They're not just a part of my, physical health routine and wellness practices. Now I use them in meditation. I use them in prayer. I use them in my manifestation practice. I use them in so many different areas of my life. They've really improved my life in a ton of different ways. And I know that if they can do that for me, and if they can do that for the thousands of people that have worked with Jennifer, then they can do that for you too. So, if you're interested in getting started with essential oils, I highly recommend enrolling and becoming a doTERRA wholesale customer with the Healthy Start Kit. That is what I enrolled with when I became a doTERRA wholesale customer. And with that kit, you get lavender essential oil, lemon, peppermint, tea tree, oregano, frankincense, which is incredible because frankincense is pretty expensive, deep blue for pain relief and muscle tension, breathe for allergies, anxiety relief, asthma, on guard, which is the immune boosting protective blend from doTERRA, Digest which aids in all sorts of different digestive issues that you might be having. And also, they have added the Brevi Stone diffuser. And it is actually the same exact diffuser that Matt and I have in our bedroom, and we use it every single night. And that's also another thing I wanted to say. The diffusers from doTERRA work so incredibly well. So I definitely recommend this kit for that reason too, because I used to buy diffusers all the time. I remember there was a point when I was on the hunt for a good quality diffuser, and I kept buying all of these like cheap diffusers, and I would buy them on Amazon, I'd buy them at random places online, I'd buy them in Marshalls and Target and stuff like that. I got them as Christmas presents. I went on a hunt to find a good quality diffuser, and for whatever reason I could not find one, and the oil like would not be, it just wasn't a good quality diffuser. So like the diffuser wouldn't push the water and the oil up into the air so you would smell it. So it was just like a huge waste. And finally I met Jennifer, and she was telling me about the diffusers with doTERRA, and I was really hesitant at first, and I was like, I don't know, Jen, like, do the diffusers actually work? Because I bought a lot of diffusers and it was such a waste. And she's like, yes, they work really well. So I got 2 diffusers now from doTERRA, and they are incredible. We use them every single day in our house. So that Brevi diffuser that's in the Healthy Start kit is the one that we use in our bedroom. And at night, we always diffuse Serenity or lavender and ylang ylang or something like that. It always includes lavender because I love lavender. And Serenity is the restful blend from doTERRA. It is one of Matt and I's absolute favorite essential oils. So that is another product that I would also recommend too if you want to add something on just for the fun of it in your cart. I definitely would recommend Serenity. It is so incredible, and I always recommend Serenity to people because I know if I can get you hooked on Serenity, you're going to come back. You're going to be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." I haven't met anyone who doesn't like the smell of Serenity. It's incredible. So every single person that buys Serenity ends up coming back for like the lavender, the peppermint, eucalyptus, and stuff like that. It is such a great blend, and it's their restful blend. So it's also going to help you sleep at night. Another oil that I would also recommend if you want to just buy something just for the fun of it, I love the Rose roller bottle from doTERRA. I use Rose all the time. I actually use it as my perfume, and I use it in all of my spiritual practices. So I use it when I pray, I use it when I meditate, and I use it when I pull oracle cards because it's just such an incredible smell. I don't know, something about the rose just feels very like divine and feminine and spiritual to me, I guess, in a way. So I absolutely love the rose. So that's another one I would recommend if you just want to add something for the fun of it. But I just wanted to remind you that if you do become a wholesale customer with doTERRA and you become a wholesale customer through us, you get 25% off all doTERRA products. You get access to our private Facebook community that Jennifer was talking about today, and you get a document with all of the different recipes and diffuser blends and roller bottle blends and stuff like that that we talked about in this episode. So that way you don't have to like go back and try and remember what we said or write it down in random places or, go back and listen to this podcast episode over and over again. If you become a wholesale customer through me, I can shoot you over a document with all these things that we talked about so that if you ever need a quick reference, like what do I use for allergies again, Heather? What do I use for anxiety? What do I use for headaches? You can automatically check that in your email and know exactly what to use so that when you do get your Healthy Start kit, you are not confused once you have it. You always know how to use the oils that are in it. And then once you are looking to explore more oils, you can always come back to me and we can figure out what oil would be good for you to help you with a different concern that you might be having, whether it be physical or mental or emotional or anything like that. And for those of you who are interested, you also can get regular free essential oil consultations with me, which is essentially free holistic health coaching. Because Jennifer and I, we are not the type of people that want to sell you an oil, sell you a product, and then leave you alone and leave you confused and be like, all right, good. We got your money. Now that's that. No, we actually really, really care about helping people, and we want to see you transform your life in the same way that we did. So if you are interested in really, exploring this holistic lifestyle and exploring essential oils and supplements that could help you, I do offer regular essential oil consultations. So you can book that through the Calendly link in the show notes. And I recommend grabbing your Healthy Start Kit, setting up an oil consultation with me so that we can set up a little routine for you or something like that. That way, you know exactly where you're going from here. You feel empowered to use the essential oils, and you don't just make the purchase and then, forget about everything that we talked about today. So if that interests you and you would like regular guidance with me through using these oils, I definitely would be happy to help you. If not, if you are just interested in buying some oils from time to time because you like the smell of them, that's totally fine too. You're not going to hurt my feelings, but just know that there is always additional help and support if you need it. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to today's podcast episode. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will talk to you in the next episode.